right. Okay, looks like the stream is live. So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Christiana Plays Ironsworn Starforged. Woo! If you are new here and don't know what Ironsworn Starforged is, let me explain. It is the new sci-fi version of a tabletop role-playing game called Ironsworn that is now in Kickstarter, currently already funded, but you can certainly still get in on the Kickstarter, and being a backer of the Kickstarter gives you access to the preview edition of the game. As you can see here, I'm gesturing in the wrong direction, over there. Uh, and Ironsworn and now the new version, Ironsworn Starforged, has an excellent solo mode for tabletop RPGs. And if you are familiar with games like Dungeons and Dragons, you may be thinking, how do you play a game like that all by yourself? Well, I'll show you. Now, that is the basics of what Ironsworn Starforged is. But let's say you missed the session 0 and you missed the session 1 and you're just jumping in. Don't worry, you won't be lost. I'll catch you up. Basic concept here is that an undetermined period of time ago, we, as that is humans, fled our galaxy and traveled to a new galaxy called the Forge. And we had to do that because of all sorts of problems. You know, stuff happens. In fact, we have a list here. Everything fell apart in an age of chaos because of loss of key resources. And so we traveled here in fancy experimental FTL ships, but we don't keep using those because we're worried that they are contributing to a fracturing of reality. Yikes. This is a sci-fi setting that is somewhat in the vein of like Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe even Star Wars by way of the Mandalorian version, and it's a lot of fun. So I am playing a character named Kiana Bridger, aka Wayfinder. Now, who is Wayfinder? Well, Wayfinder is someone who used to be just a scavenger, but then one day was trying to excavate a vault of this ancient alien race called the Ascendancy, who are not around anymore. But I received a vision that showed me that humanity has a potential future where we could join the Ascendancy in transcending physical reality. And I have become a convert to this belief. And so I am a pilgrim of that religion. However, not a lot of other followers of this religion. So I'm doing my best to try to seek out more of these ruins, to find out more about this mystery, and then eventually maybe persuade more people that this is a worthwhile goal. But that's a long-term plan. So what am I doing in the meantime? Well, I recently just helped a poor young shipwright to get the medicine he needed to clear himself of a parasitic infection from these little critters called wugglers. But in the process, I investigated a derelict ship, got myself beat up pretty much, and then got some strange biological samples on the outside of my suit. And when I needed help decontaminating myself, I had to make another promise. The person manning the airlock at this ramshackle settlement named Ramshackle made me promise that I would help them to escape their indentured servitude. And so that's pretty much where we're beginning. Now, when I am currently on the settlement of Hearth. And Hearth is it's a relatively relaxed place compared to some places in the universe. Now, I have here just a very, very basic summary of the properties of this place, but I also created a handout, Starforged Places, where I have more detail here. So there's in the region of the Outlands, the sector Forgotten Deep, I have, there's the planet of Vesuvius. This is a furnace-type planet, but there's a settlement on it named Hearth. And this is, it's a place where they have a lot of religious meditation, but also a lot of geothermal energy production. And when I came in to the most recent, when I arrived in my ship, this most recent time, I discovered I'd been received a security flag from the boss of this person that I promised to help escape. So they're already on to me, and they're trying to get me in trouble. But fortunately for me, just as we finished last time, I discovered that the person that I was there in contact with at the Hearth Security, they know all about this guy. And in fact, they're willing to help me. So here's a couple of things that we need to talk about before we get started. That's the basics of it, but a couple of little nuts and bolts here. One is that there has been a couple of minor updates to the game. Those were released as part of updates on the Kickstarter page. And reading the changelog, I discovered that they had made a change to one of my assets. And so my assets here I have a starship, I am a devotant of a religion, I'm an explorer, and I have a survey bot named Scout. But the devotant asset card here was modified. So it used to be that this feature here, this #1 feature, when it was for when you secure an advantage or face danger, which are 2 moves that you can do in this game. But I had found that that felt a little bit awkward, but instead it's now been changed to when you secure an advantage or gain ground. And the benefit there is it's essentially the 2 moves that you would do either in combat or not in combat. Secure an advantage is a move that you do when you're not in combat. Gain ground is something you do when you are in combat. So I think that settles it out pretty well. And so I also made I made some little rollable tokens to help me mark progress on these little progress trackers here. So for example, if I wanted to, I can choose whether it is marked with 1 tick, 2 ticks, 3 ticks, or 4 ticks. And so that shows that helps me with one of the things that I had struggled with a little bit before. I also borrowed the progress tracker worksheet from Ironsworn and made that some places where I can track different progress tracks here on this page here. So last but not least, I modified one of the Ironsworn character sheets. This is still the Starforged character sheet, but I modified one of the original ones in a way that will let me use it for rolls. So that'll simplify doing the rolls a little bit. So before, instead of having to tell it to manually roll my action die, which is a d6, and the challenge die, which are 2 d10s, I can now, for example, well here, let me put it back on the roll. I can roll from this character sheet. So for example, there you can see a result from a heart roll, but let's say I wanted to roll edge with a modifier of +1. And then you can see it does the roll here, and it tells me automatically whether it's a strong hit, weak hit, miss, and whether there's opportunities or complications resulting. But so now that let's get into the game here. So where we left is that I had fulfilled my vow to my shipwright friend, who's named K. Vega, and we determined that he is willing to give me a discount for ship repairs and that sort of thing. Here, let me zoom that out a little bit. There we go. And so I had previously said, at the end of that session, oh, I don't need any repairs right now because I was only looking at my survey bot, and I had forgotten that my starship was actually damaged in the pirate raid over on in the Ramshackle settlement. So I think I will actually do the repair roll here. And what I decided is that when I do a supply roll for repairs at his shop, I will get a +1 to repair. So let's roll down here and look at the repair move. Well, let's see. We've got. You know what? Let me open up the rules reference as well, just because that's a little quicker to look at just moves. There we go. So here in the kit here, so we've got repair. So when you make repairs to your vehicles, modules, mechanical companions, or other devices, you envision the situation. And if you are making your own repairs, you roll plus wits. But if you are obtaining repairs from someone else who is not like another player, you roll plus supply. And that's why the benefit of having a +1 to supply rolls is going to be useful there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is roll my supply and see if I can't get that 1 point of damage on my command module repaired. So I've got supply at +3 at the moment. You can see on my character sheet right here. It's currently at +3. Supply, if you're new to this game, represents a general, you know, you don't track necessarily individual pieces of equipment here. It's represented in the abstract by a supply track. So let's roll supply and add a +1. Okay, so not only is this a strong hit, got a total action score of 8, which was a 4 on the d6, +3, which is my current supply score, and +1, which is the bonus I got for working with K here. But the challenge dice were both 2s, so that means it's a strong hit. My action score was higher than both, but also they matched, so it makes an opportunity. So let's look at the roll, or the move. So on a hit, you gain repair points as appropriate to the situation per the table below. So we're repairing at a facility, and it's a strong hit, which means that I could heal up to 5 points, which I don't need that many. I only need 1. But there's also an opportunity, so we'll find out what that is in just a moment. So let's see. Yeah, so basically I only need the 1 point, but I can go ahead and take that. So I could have had a lot more to repair, but I don't actually need anything else repaired at the moment. But let's figure out what this opportunity is, right? So we have, we could imagine a lot of different possible things, but let's go ahead and use one of the oracles. And yeah, here's the oracles. Using the oracles, core oracles. So there are a lot of different tables here. This is how the solo mode of the RPG works, is that you roll on these tables and they give you inspiration, and that helps you have the randomness and to represent the way, the creation of the world in the way that a dungeon master might do it in Dungeons and Dragons. But so we have a bunch of different ones that we could use, but there are some specific planet-side opportunities, like Spaceborne Peril, Spaceborne Opportunity, planet-side perils, and planet-side opportunities. And so let's find one of the planet-side opportunities and see if one of those makes sense for our current situation, which is an opportunity that arises from this. Well, let's see. So we are on a planet where, let's see, these are like planet-side journey. That's really less a matter of like, these are more things that would be, well, okay, let's just roll it and see what it is. So the Hearth is not a life-bearing planet, other than the fact that there's a settlement here. There's doesn't have alien life forms otherwise. So let's go ahead and roll a percentile dice on this lifeless table and see what sort of opportunity it offers us. All right, so we got an 89. So on this table, 89 is a plea for help from a potential benefactor. Okay, so working with Kay here, Kay Vega, this shipwright, he is someone that I helped to get medicine to rid him of a parasitic infection. So, but one of the things that we also established about him, and I made a little handout of who is some of the people that I've made connections with here in Starforged Connections. I made a little handout here. So some of the things that we established about him, this kid is scruffy, distracted and youthful, talented, impulsive, and corrupted. Now, we interpreted corrupted in a couple of ways. One was that he had this parasitic infection, which is now cleared. But another was that he was corrupted in the sense that he is religious and he shares the dominant religion on this particular settlement. And he believes that it helps to maintain order, and that's what he wants to have happen. But what we also established is that he essentially deals under the table to help out the leaders of this religion in a way that is probably technically illegal, but he helps them out. So maybe this plea for help from a potential benefactor is one of those religious leaders and who might have a problem that they need solved discreetly. And I don't have any investment personally in wanting to make sure that those religious folks obey their principles, because I believe that their religion is a false one and that it's actually the ascendancy that we should be following. So, it's like, all right, I would potentially help with that. So let's imagine who this person would be. We're going to be doing a bunch of this because we also have to envision who is the person at the Hearth Security that is going to help me with Elisa, the person I'm trying to free from indentured servitude. And then we also have to figure out who her boss is, the Elisa's boss, the guy who's in charge of that. So some developments to follow. So let's first just do this in order. So we have some oracles related to characters. So let's, oops. All right, sorry. I clicked past where I wanted to be. I wanted to be oracles. Okay, come on, there we go. All right, so for characters, we already decided that this first person that we're trying to find out, this potential benefactor that I'm meeting through Kay, we already know some things about them, right? We just decided that this is going to be one of the people that is important in the local triumvirate religion here, who might have a discrete, a problem needs solving. But we can find out some other things about them. So, for example, we have a lot of abstract oracles, and then we have place oracles. Well, let's scroll down to character oracles. Settlement oracles, starships, starship missions, characters. There we go. So let's, what it suggests here is that we can do, we can get a couple of things that you would know about them at a first look. Disposition would be something that we would roll on if we didn't know that they were someone who needed some help, right? Like we established that this is an opportunity, so they're not going to be hostile to us, for example. But let's roll a couple of things that we would want to know about them first. And these are probably things that we're hearing about them from Kay, right? So let's roll 2 percentile dice. And we get, oops, I got a 35 and an 84. So this person is energetic, and 84 uncanny. Okay, okay. So hang on, let's um, potential benefactor, religious leader, triumvirate, has a problem, which we'll figure out what the details are of that in a moment. They are energetic, uncanny. Let's figure out what do we mean when, like, what does it mean to us when we say that a character is uncanny? Um, Gosh, well, I feel like I could just literally like I have a general sense of it, but I'm literally just gonna Google the definition really quick. Uh, Having or seeming to have a supernatural or inexplicable basis. Okay. So maybe this is a reflection of, this is a religious leader, and this is something that Kay tells us about them, is that like you can just tell that they're super spiritual and they're really one with this religion, and you can just tell on them, and like I'm going to say like, well, I guess I'll have to see, right? Um, so then let's figure out character role. We already decided they're a religious leader, so we don't need to roll that. So character goal. So let's roll that. We know that they have a problem, but let's figure out like what is it that so they're going to have a problem, which will be a different table. But we would also like to know what their goal is. So let's roll. Got 75, and 75 is spread faith. How is that about like sometimes the oracles for this game are just like magic. Um, Goal is to spread faith. Okay, and then revealed character aspect. I'm going to roll just once because again, this is something that Kay is telling me about them, not my own assessment. So let's see how that feels. 84. Strong. Okay. Strong. Now, so we got character names that we go roll here. Oh, you know what? I thought that. You know what? We'll do other oracles for. I was thinking there was a table that was specifically for character problems, but I guess that's the character goal one that I was thinking of. But we'll figure that out in a moment. But let's figure out their name. So gonna go ahead and roll once for given name and once for family name. So two rolls. 64 and 40. So 64 for first given name is Curtis, and then 40 for last name Sutton. This is Curtis Sutton. Curtis Sutton. Okay. And so we know that they want to spread faith. That's their overall goal. But let's figure out like what is their specific problem right now. We could roll on a settlement problem table. That certainly does make sense. We could roll that just to see if that feels like an appropriate thing. We could also, let's see, there's Starship missions. No, that would be more like if you came across a ship in space and what are they out there doing. So I think settlement trouble maybe makes more sense, and we can see if what we get on the oracle is something that makes sense in the circumstance. So let's go ahead and roll on that table. 5, blocked resource. Okay. His problem is blocked resource. So he needs something and is having trouble getting it. It's being blocked. Well, we already established that this this sector has another settlement called Ramshackle that has a black market, but that settlement, Ramshackle, is being preyed upon by pirates. So maybe he had a crucial bit of cargo that he needed desperately, but it was stolen by the pirates. Um, yeah. Okay. So um, maybe what happens here is that Kay's fixing up my ship, which is called Dawn's Herald. And he's just working on it, and he's telling me all about how, you did such a good job going over to Ramshackle and getting this medicine for me. I have one of the, religious leaders named Curtis Sutton that I work with sometimes, and I know that he just had a shipment stolen by the pirates from Dead Rock. Maybe if you could, if you touched base with him, he might be willing to reward you for getting it back or getting a replacement. Okay, yeah. So that's a potential thing that we could follow up on. But I'm in the middle of something right now too, so I might do that in a minute. But in the meantime, let's follow up on a couple of other things. Because we established that I met someone at the Hearth security office who was aware of Elisa Hunter's boss and willing to help to interfere with his operations because he causes trouble for them. So we need to figure out who that person is, and then maybe we can try to make a connection with them and see if that moves us forward. Because I have my current active vow. I vow to help Elisa Hunter escape her indentured servitude. I made progress because I already met someone who might help me with that, right? But so let's follow back up with that person and figure out who they are. So let's roll some more on this table here. So this is a person. Let's roll twice on first look. We got 55 and 33. So this person is large and eccentric. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see. Hearth Security Office, Port Security. Large and eccentric. And then their disposition we already established. So that this disposition is one that would be useful, like if I just randomly happened across someone out in the planet, and as opposed to one where we've already had a story reason for how they might be. So, and we already know their role too, because that's how we met them. So let's find out what their overall goal would be, though. So we need a goal for that person. 61 on character goal is to resolve a dispute. That makes sense. And that makes sense because maybe what we established is that they have had trouble with the way that this guy is constantly sending them nuisance security flags just to punish people he wants to annoy, and he basically runs business in a way that they disapprove of, and they would like him to stop doing that. And so that would be, let's see, resolve a dispute, relationship. Now let's see, what do we want to say about that? To get Elisa's boss, name to be determined, to stop causing them trouble. Okay, so then we'll get to, as I return, we'll maybe do a couple of these revealed character aspects as we get to know them a little bit better. But let's go ahead and roll again on given name and family name to find out who this person is named. What this person is named. 60 and 58. So 60 for character name is Landry, and then 58 is Jen. Landry Jen. Landry Jen. And you know what? Let's go ahead and say they use they, them pronouns. Okay. And all right. I guess that would still, it's a pronoun, would be capital. All right. So they use they, them pronouns. We already established this is, Landry is a big person. And they, eccentric makes sense because I met them where they were calling me in to investigate the security flag, and I basically explained what happened, and they're like, yeah, that guy sounds like he would do that. Doesn't seem like to have the serious taciturn demeanor I might expect from a security officer. So let's see if I can go ahead and form a connection with this person as I return to them to figure out more about how they can maybe help me with this mission. So let's make a connection. This is when you search out a new relationship or give focus to an existing relationship. And we're going to roll plus heart to establish if we can make a connection with Landry. So let me pull up my little roller. Okay, I'm rolling plus heart. I don't have anything to add to it. All right, so we ended up with an action score of 5, which was my heart of 3 plus a 2 on the die, which is only 5. Not as good as it could be, but the challenge dice were only a 2 and a 4, so it's a strong hit. So on a strong hit, you create a connection, give them a roll and a rank. Whenever your connection aids you on a move closely associated with their roll, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. Okay, so let's go ahead and add them to my connections table here. Landry, Jen, they're on Hearth. Their role is port security. All right, and then let's get those lined up. And then I'm going to make this a higher rank connection. So the ranks here, where it's like troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, epic, when you're talking about connections in Ironsworn Starforged, we're not talking about saying this is a troublesome person, this is a dangerous person. It's just a reflection of scale in terms of simultaneously how hard will it be to develop the relationship with this person, but also how much do you get out of that relationship. And that's reflected by once you make a bond with someone, you get to basically mark experience. So like how much experience do you get for developing your bond with that person? So because I've already got a troublesome connection with Kay, let's make this one dangerous. Let's get dangerous. And so we've got that. Can go ahead and I can add my notes here that this is Landry is large and eccentric. Okay, and so whoops, I can spell eccentric correctly. No X in there. All right. So as we go to meet with Landry, and they had promised to help us to figure out how to interfere with this Elisa's boss, who we still need to figure out who that is. Let's do this. Let's gather information about that guy, right? Um, and then I'm going to, because I'm getting this information from them, I will be doing, whenever your connection aids you on a move closely associated with their role, add +1 and take one momentum on a hit. Um, so, uh, uh, and, all right, so, oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right. So what I'm going to do is gather information. This is a roll, but I get to take a +1 to it, and then and take momentum if I get a hit. All right. So the gather information roll is when you search for clues, ask questions, analyze evidence, or do research. You roll plus wits. My wits is +2, so you can see my stats right here. My wits are +2, and so I'm going to be rolling my wits, which is +2, with an additional 1 modifier due to my connection with Landry. So I'm rolling from my other roller here. I'm adding the +1 modifier. Okay, that gave us a total action score of 6 against a 3 and a 4, which is a strong hit. Hooray! All right, so what that means is on a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what you learn and then take +2 momentum. Excellent. And because of my connection move that we just established, I'll take an additional +1 momentum, which means I'm going to take my momentum, which is currently at 3, and I gain 3 of that to up to +6, which is excellent. So, and I think what I learn is, who is this person, right? Who is this? Who is Elisa Hunter's boss? This guy who has her working as an indentured servant, and also does these other things like cause security flag trouble, and is has antagonized Hearth port security. Let's figure out what their what else is true about them. So let's and because we rolled so well, we got a strong hit. We're going to build in here something about, like, I have an idea for what I might be able to do to interfere with their whole deal and help Elisa. So let's first roll 2 percentile dice to get a name for this person. 99 and 31. So 99 for given name is Zephyr, and then 31 for family name, Zephyr Khan. Okay, that's a good name. That's a good, I feel like that's a good villain name. Yeah, so Zephyr Khan. All right, and let's go ahead and make our entry for Zephyr Khan as well. Zephyr Khan, who lives, oops, hang on, these should have, lives on Hearth. Lives on Hearth. And then Zephyr Khan lives on Ramshackle. So if you didn't see my previous game, you can see my map here, my sector map. We've got this settlement of Hearth on the planet of Vesuvius, and then the settlement of Ramshackle, which is on the planet of Dusk, and there's a path connected to them, meaning the travel between them is relatively straightforward. Then there's also a deep space base, which is a haven of pirates called Dead Rock. So let's figure out what is also true about Zephyr Khan other than the things we already know. So we need, a first look, like what is the general impression that Landry has of them that they can help me out in learning. Let's roll 2 of those. 74 and 56. 74 is slight. 56 is mutated. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Slight and mutated. Gosh, mutated. I feel like I want to know more about that. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there's a specific table for like mutations. Let's search in here. So we, let's see. There's a lot of places where things might be mutated, but it doesn't, it's not like specific kinds of mutations or anything. Okay, so we'll maybe figure that out in a moment. Well, or no, you know what? Let's figure it out right now. What is this guy's mutation? Perhaps let's use some of these other oracles to help us to see if they can give us an inspiration for what his mutation might be. Let's see. We've got an action mutation oracle, a theme, descriptor, focus. You know what? I don't know if any of those maybe make the most sense. Let's figure out what sort of mutation might he have. So we can do this. We can narrow it down. You know, sort of 20 question style, right? So what we can do is we can make our own oracle. We can say, is this a is this like we can start to say, is this a helpful mutation or a harmful mutation? How about that? Start there. So what we'll say is we'll do a percentile dice, and if it is 0 to 50, then it's a harmful mutation. If it's 51 or above, it's a helpful mutation. And so let's just roll that and find out. It's a 61, so that means it's a helpful mutation. Helpful mutation? Okay, so if it's helpful mutation, let's say, does it give him like a supernatural ability, or is it more mundane than that? Like it just makes him, you know, like, is it something, let's say, is it something like physical, like, you know, like you can see it, like it's a change to a visual change of his body versus a mutation that maybe gives him some ability that he didn't have before. So let's say that the first roll will be, this is something that is a purely like physical, obvious bodily change. And then the second, you know, half will be, it gives him some unusual ability. So let's try that. Okay, 23. So this is some specific bodily change. Okay, we've already got that he's slight, so it wouldn't be like, oh, he has huge muscles or anything like that. And it is helpful. So it's a helpful change to his body that wouldn't contradict him being slight. Maybe, like, we could have it be something slightly more mundane, like it just means that he is able to get by on way less oxygen than other people, for example, right? But that would be more like the ability rather than a bodily change, right? And this is helpful. So maybe maybe he's got yeah, let's how about this? I was thinking of a couple things, but let's narrow it down further, because again, we can just do this. So like we'll say first 50 is something on his body, like below the neck, and then the top 50 will be like something about his head or face. Okay, so it's his body below the neck. And well, you know what? What if he just he has grown a second pair of arms that he is able to control effectively? That's kind of crazy. Um, like, but I think it's like interesting and unusual. That's kind of fun. Yeah. You know what? Let's just do that. Let's just say that. Um, he has grown a second pair of arms that he can uh, move just as easily as his uh, first set. Okay, great. That's interesting. All right, so this is already an unusual fellow here. So let's figure out what else is true about this guy. We have learned his name. We have learned, a couple of first impression sort of details about him. We need a goal for him because we know some of the things he does, but that's not the same as like an overall personal goal. So let's, and we also don't know what his role is. Like he's kind of a crime boss, but is that like his like what he puts on his business card? Probably not. So let's roll for roll and goal. We're gonna roll for roll and goal. It's a roll and goal roll. You know, one of those. One of those classic roll and goal rolls. 71 for roll and then 42 for goal. So 71 on roll, a raider. That I'm not sure works with what we're doing here. So let's actually just swap our two. We'll say that 71 will be for goal and 42 is investigator. Okay, he's an investigator. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah. I mean that maybe makes sense for like his official job is. Like maybe he's a dirty cop. Well, we have this is or, for that matter, we have established Ramshackle is a lawless settlement. So he would be more like probably like private security. Like he's someone who the rich people employ to take care of things. Okay, he's an investigator, and then 71 for goal would be to seize power. Okay, that seems straightforward. Okay. Um, he is an investigator who wants to seize power. All right. What else? So, what we the thing we still have to establish as part of this whole thing is that as part of gathering information, I learned this stuff about him, but I also learned something that gave me a leg up in terms of figuring out what I might need to do next to make progress with freeing Elisa from this indentured servitude. And so let's figure out what that might be. And we can go up to, I think this is where we can use some of these abstract oracles like focus and theme to see, just give us some words to see what of those feels like it will make the most sense. Here we go. So we've got action and theme, which are usually good for some of these sorts of questions. So let's roll 2. Roll 24 for action and 48 for theme. So action 24, construct, and then 48 for theme is construct innocence. Construct innocence. What does that mean here? As a way to help. Oh, okay. So maybe if the issue here is that Elisa is an indentured servant with this guy, meaning she owes money or something, some commitment that she made, but she has ended up in a situation here where there's essentially no way she'll ever be able to work it off. She's supposed to be working off her contract, but it's just like it's a bad situation. It's one of those classic, coal mining things where, the company store sells all the things you need, but at prices where your wages will never be able to make enough and you end up just constantly in the hole. And that's fine. The company doesn't mind if you're in the hole. You just can't leave while you're in the hole. Obviously, you can only leave if you're willing to pay what you owe. And so I think that that's kind of the setup that Elisa is in. So to construct innocence, maybe what that means is I need to fake documentation or some other kind of evidence that she is already paid off, like that she isn't in debt anymore and that he has no hold over her. Gosh. So that, yeah, I kind of like that idea. Okay. The path forward for freeing Elisa is to construct innocence. Construct innocence. Meaning fabricate evidence that her debt is paid. Okay, so that's what I need to do, but how would I accomplish something like that? So maybe that's like, is just knowing that. Yeah, so maybe so what we established is my hits on those other roles told me this is the way to go. I had this person who works for Hearthport Security tell me this is what you need to do. So I think that trusting the fiction, what that means is we know that this is not going to be something where, if, it's going to, like, if we can do that right, it's not just going to be canceled, right? There must be times where people do manage to pay it off. Maybe it's a little bit like a ransom situation. Like if they have a rich relative who ends up being willing to pay off their debt, that will occasionally happen. And it'll just have to be a case where we need to try to manufacture that situation without ending up having to actually just literally pay it ourselves. Okay, great. So let's, so we've got a method that we think will, we've got a method that we think is going to prove helpful. But now we need to figure out how to accomplish that, because I think that this person, this Landry, has offered that that's the way to go, and given me good information that that's what I need to do. But I think that this person is maybe not the person who's going to forge that for me. It's more a matter of like, you know what? Actually, I take it back, because we got a strong hit on gather information, right? And so it says, envision what you learn. You discover helpful and specific the path you must follow to make progress. So I think what that means is, you didn't hear it from me, but go to this address and tell the person what you need. And so I'll still have to work with that other person, but I think that they give me like a specific place to go to try to maybe fabricate this document. Where, well, you know what? I think probably we're not talking about like a document, like a letter. Because what we need for Elisa to be free and clear is not just to like get her out the door. actually, you know what? Maybe that's fine. Maybe all we need is something to last long enough that she could get off planet and go somewhere else. So what she needs is something that will get her out the door and then passage out of the sector. Does she need to leave the sector? So I think, yeah, maybe that's the dilemma, right? We either need something that is going to be lasting, where she's just free and clear and she can do whatever she wants, or we need something that will last just long enough for her to leave, but then she has to leave. Well, we're in a sci-fi future, so I think what we're talking about here is not just someone who needs to forge a bearer bond or something like that. What we need is someone to hack the systems to make it look like her debt is paid off. And so someone needs to just like hack in there. So that's what I need to find, is someone who can hack the systems and who would be willing to do that for me. Okay. All right. So let's figure out. But we get a person, we get a name. So let's figure out who that person is. All right, we're discovering all sorts of fun people tonight. Wait, first of all, so I've made a connection with Landry. And let me just double check. So when you make a connection, let's see. Yeah, so I wouldn't make progress on that right now, but they've helped me out. They've given me something helpful. So let's figure out who they send me to. We can here need to let's see where I need. Sorry, I'm trying to, there we go. Let's see, characters. 168 is the page where those start. Okay, so they're going to send me to, they give me just a name, so that's all I'll roll to start. Okay, so they give me, let's just say a call sign and a place to go to contact them. So we're going to roll percentile 54. So they tell me that this is amazing. Okay, they tell me that I need to find someone who goes by mainframe. All right, that's fantastic. Okay, so I'm finding give me contact info for mainframe. Okay, all right, so mainframe. So I think what I do first is, I think with that information, I'm going to send a message to the contact information that I got, and I don't get an immediate reply. I'm going to say that because I think what I want to do is let some time pass. Like, they don't reply right away. I let them know that I'm looking for them. I would like to, talk to them about a job of some kind. But while I'm waiting, I want to sojourn here in Hearth for a little bit because, I took a beating in the last adventure. So let's take some time recovering within this community of Hearth. So let's go ahead and roll. So we are spending time rolling within a community. We're going to roll Heart. And Heart, we're not adding anything in particular. Okay, so we got a 9 for our action score, but the challenge dice were a 4 and a 9. And we don't have any We don't have enough momentum to beat that. So that means it's a weak hit. So for Sojourn on a weak hit, um, let's see. On a weak hit, we get to make one recover move instead of two. So if it was a strong hit, we would each choose two recover moves, which are heal, hearten, repair, or resupply. And instead of rolling, we would assume a strong hit. And so on a weak hit, I only get one. And so basically I can choose I don't need repair right now because I just got repairs. But I think in this case, do I want to help my health, my spirit, or my supply? You know what? I think, although it is important to maintain health of the body, I am, as a devotant of this, the ascendancy, what I believe is that by thinking of the physical world as temporary and fleeting compared to what could be, recognition that strength of the spirit is primary among all other considerations. And so I think what I will do is hearten. When you socialize, share intimacy, or find a moment of peace. So I think what I do is I go to one of these domed meditation gardens here. And even though those are set up for this triumvirate religion, I can still appreciate the wonder of it, where I am here in this domed garden where I can look around at this very peaceful place, all this lush greenery, but then also look out past the dome to see these magma seas and choking fumes and energy towers, and I think that's the purpose of those meditation gardens, is to reflect on the contrast of those extremes. So with a hearten, if I just get an automatically strong hit, then you will find companionship or comfort and your spirit is strengthened, and I can take +2 spirit. And if you make this movement as you sojourn, you can take +1 more, but I only need +2. So in any case, while I'm waiting for mainframe to get back to me, I go to this meditation garden and I, find solace there in, recognizing the, the contrast of the extreme fiery heat of the outside planet on Vesuvius versus the control of the peace and life within this dome. But then, let's say mainframe gets back to me with a place to go, like a location here in Hearth. And so when I go to Hearth, that's when I'm going to get to. Let's roll the. Let's find out what this person is like. Okay, characters. So I'm going to roll 2 first looks, and I'm going to roll a disposition this time because I haven't met this person. I've just been told that they're the person to go to. So let's roll 3 to start here. Okay, 67 and 1 and 17. So for first look, 67 is scruffy and 1 is accented. And then disposition, 17, cooperative. That's good. That's good news. Okay, so let's open up our connections sheet here. Okay, so mainframe is a hacker. And when I meet them, they are scruffy and cooperative. Scruffy and accented and cooperative. Oh God, I suddenly just thought of like Watto from from Phantom Menace. Like, oh, hello, I am told you are Wayfinder. You wanted to find me. And you have found your way, so it seems like we are match set, so to speak. All right, great. So let's do a character role for them because like they're a hacker, but that's got to be like an under the table sort of thing. So let's see what maybe they are like, officially, formally. Do they have some other role? And then I'll get another goal too. Um, so 94 for role, which is going to be action and theme. Okay, we're going to do another Oracle roll for that. 9 is the goal, which is to claim a resource. Um, Goal is to claim a resource. And then let's go up to the action and theme oracles. Roll on those to tell us about. Oh, you know what? I feel like they did change these other links. Or they made hyperlinks supposedly. Let's see if that works. Okay, so here we go. Oh yeah, look, I got a little hand click. There we go. Look how easy that was. All right. Okay, so let's do 2 rolls to figure out their role here. 73 on action, which is reduce. 17. Reduce cure. Reduce cure. What could that mean? Like, what would that be a role? And to claim a resource. So, okay, maybe. Now, cure could definitely be the medicine, because we've established that this particular settlement has a problem with these parasitic infections. We've identified these alien parasite creatures. We call them wugglers here in this sector, and so we've established that there's a medicine that can remove them, and we go out and claim a resource. So reduce cure, maybe. See, we could have this be sort of a more malicious thing, like he is somehow trying to eradicate the cure, or to hoard it himself, like he's trying to reduce it, the amount that other people have so that he can have it. But you know what? I kind of prefer, just personally, let's imagine it that what he's trying to do is Robin Hood this thing. He's trying to reduce the stockpiles where the medicine is hoarded for the rich and powerful, just so that they'll have it on hand if things happen, all the while more, the poor people don't, go without. Like, they'll have a Wuggler infection, can't get the medicine, even though it's sitting on a shelf somewhere because some rich person just wants to have it on hand just in case. Gosh, that, who could imagine such a thing happening? Stares at real world. Anyway, yeah, okay. So his goal is to steal from Wuggler medicine stockpiles to redistribute to people who need it more. But yeah, so that's what he's trying to do as a character. I think that's fun. I like that. Okay. And he definitely feels like the sort of person that I would maybe help me with this sort of thing if he's cooperative, right? So I, meet this guy, and he's like, so I'm told you need my services. What can I do for you? And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to explain. There's this guy named Zephyr Khan, and he is a bad dude. He's over on Ramshackle. He's basically trying to take control of everything over there. And I can't necessarily, like, he's too big for me to just take on right now all by myself. But at the very least, I want to try to help this one person. So can you help me to, like, hack into his systems and get her freed? And so I guess what I'll just start with is compel. When you try to persuade someone or make them an offer. envision your approach. And so I think what I start with here is I'm not like offering pay or anything. I'm just saying this is the right thing to do. Can you help? Um, so I'm going to just try to charm and like appeal to his Robin Hood nature, and let's roll heart and see if that helps. Also, actually, yeah. Okay, so let's just roll heart and see how we do. Okay, so that's we got an 8 action score, which is pretty good, but the challenge dice are 9 and a 4, which means we only got a weak hit. So for compel with a weak hit, they'll do what I want or agree to my condition, and I can take +1 momentum, but it comes with a demand or a complication. Envision their counter offer. Okay, so they want something, right? Well, that makes sense. So I can take +1 momentum. But what do they want instead? Well, their goal is to try to get more of this medicine in the hands of people who need it. And one of the things that I learned about that medicine when I was going to get some last time for Kay is that it's actually not like there's this, people describe it as a grass that is made into the medicine, but it's actually just an immature form of the same life form that becomes the Wugglers. And it's potentially dangerous if it's, ripe when you go to try to get some. But, there are supplies. So I know that about it. And so I know where some is. So I don't know, maybe he wants me to go back and get more, or does he, or is it more important to him to get it away from someone else? So let's see, what, you know, how about this? Okay, so okay, how about this? He is able with his system, because we know that Zephyr runs a lot of illicit operations over in Ramshackle. And if he's going to be hacking into this guy's system anyway, maybe what he can arrange is that, in addition to helping Elisa, he's going to arrange for her to be released along with a crate of this medicine. But I have to, I have to not only go over there to like I have to go pick it up. So that's, I'm going to go back over there anyway to talk to Elisa to let her know what's happening. But I have to also pick up this shipment that, at least in the systems, should be clear, but that I could potentially get into trouble if I'm found with it and someone who doesn't believe the computer. Yeah. Is that enough? You know what? I think it is. One of the things that I was talking about in the last session in this game that I think is very important is that this game is very good at giving you all sorts of complications all by itself. So I think if you're ever playing this game and you have the tendency to say, is that too easy? Should it be harder than that? I would say, generally speaking, take it easy on yourself, because there's going to be plenty of times where the dice will not take it easy on you and you will not feel like you benefited unfairly. So I'm going to say, he says, okay, well, I am willing to do this for you, but what I need you to do for me is to go to Ramshackle and pick up this physical shipment of the medicine, because I can change it in the system to say that you are allowed to pick it up, but I still need someone to physically bring the box. I can't do that. I need someone I can trust who's not going to, if I just tell it to, change the delivery address, someone might spot that. So I need someone to go in there and then fool the people who check check these things against, double check them against other records. Okay, yeah, that seems good. So I agree that I will do that, and this does not require me to, swear an iron vow or anything. Um, it's just an agreement. I think that if he was less cooperative, we might need a vow. But I think in this context, we'll just say that I need to do that on my way. So he agrees to hack the system in this way, to say, have in the system, have it say that Elisa has paid her debt, um, and also that there's a shipment of Wugler medicine that is due to be picked up by Wayfinder on the Dawn's Herald and brought to Hearth. All right, yeah, okay, I like that. So I think that sounds like to me making progress on my vow here. So for reach a milestone on the quest, you make headway on your quest, you make progress on it according to the rank of your vow. And this is a troublesome vow, so making progress means filling in 3 full boxes. So I've got 3 boxes full on there. I'm going to just copy that and then, whoops, then paste them. Oops. There we go. Okay. All right. So we've got, oh, that reminds me, I can go to my other, now that I've made these little tick mark things, I can go over to my legacy tracks, and instead of having just the number typed in there, I can add it as one of these, but this one should be just one tick. And then this one is 3. So, okay, here we go. Just that way it looks a little bit more like you would have it look if you were filling it out by hand. Okay, so that's great. So I have now made progress on my vow to help Elisa Hunter escape her indentured servitude. So, like, this is an example of something where I could try right now to just say, well, I've got 6 out of 10. That might be enough to just complete the vow, because I have arranged for the hacker to say, she's good, and then my promise to go pick up this shipment is technically unrelated. Like, she doesn't need to be involved with that. But I think it makes more sense to go there, meet with her, and make sure everything's good. And then if she needs to go somewhere to see if there's any other problems that need to be resolved before we try to finish that up. Okay, so let's do it then. So I think with this promise in hand, what I need to do is travel back to Ramshackle. So I think I'll return to my newly repaired ship, the Dawn's Herald. And so I'm going to, see, travel moves. I'm going to set a course, because we have on our sector map here that there's a path between Hearth and Ramshackle. That means it is not exploring unknown territory. It's a known travel lane. So I can set a course, and I can, when I set a course, I follow a known route through perilous space, across hazardous terrain, or within a mysterious site. I roll plus supply. And so my supply right now is only 3. So maybe before I go, I'm gonna resupply and see if I can't get that a little bit more under control before I set out. So with resupply, when you attempt to bolster your readiness, envision the opportunity and your approach. So I think, maybe what I'm going to do is I'll appeal to mainframe to say, I'm definitely doing this for you. Can you help me out with a little bit of extra supply, um, ahead of, just to help me, make sure that I get there and back safely. So I'm going to try making this appeal to Mainframe. So I'm going to roll heart. Um, Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's try making a connection with Mainframe. Um, um, because we've definitely met him. We're doing this whole thing here. So we're gonna roll heart still, but we're gonna try to, um, see if we can have a connection with him. Um, okay, so we got a 9 on the action score, which is 6 on the d6 plus 3. But then the challenge dice was 9 and 4, so it's still only a weak hit. So with make a connection on a weak hit, you create the connection and you give them the roll and rank. And then whenever your connection aids you on a move closely associated with their roll, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. But on a weak hit, you get all of that, but the connection comes with a complication or cost. Envision what they reveal or demand. Um, so let's see. Because we're already kind of doing a job for him, and so maybe he's just saying like, well, I'm not gonna just, give you more stuff just for out of the goodness of my heart. I'm not that kind of hacker. Um, but maybe let's make him another troublesome one. Let's say, you know, uh, what were the other things we knew about him? He was scruffy and accented. Scruffy, accented, cooperative. Um, okay, how about this? What it is in this context, because he's cooperative, is that he says sure, and he taps it a little bit on his system, and he says, I have arranged for you to, okay, so this was just to make a connection with him. Let's see. So, like, this is the cost for having the connection, not with, yeah, this was not the, the role to resupply with. So, maybe, you know what? We'll just, gosh, complication or cost. Envision what they reveal or demand. Well, you know what? I think that he already wants me to get this crate. And, okay, so by the way, if you're watching, feel free to lurk if that's your preference, and just watch. You don't have to join in the chat, but if you want to join in the chat, you are absolutely welcome to do so. So let's see if this guy, I'm already doing a job for him, and this is just me trying to strike up a friendship, and hello. And so the cost is to be friends with him, and I think, you know what, maybe the cost is really just that he travels in some, illegal circles, and so that maybe that's just the cost of this connection, is that you know uh, I certainly do not mind us having a more personal relationship, but it may be that the more time you and I spend together, the more people will start to wonder if you are up to no good. That sort of thing. Maybe, yeah, maybe that's just it, is that, there are people who would find this relationship maybe not above board and not approve, and that could potentially be a source of trouble. Yeah, okay. Okay. Uh, connection could possibly get me into trouble in the wrong circles. Um, yes, reputation economy hit. Yeah. So, all right. So that I think that works. So, but we've got the connection now. So that means that if we're doing a move that is associated with that role, which I think will include going and getting the other thing, and then I think so based on that, I'm going to say, hey, we've got a connection. Let's can help me resupply now that we're doing this? Um, and I think I'm just I don't have a bonus for this one, but let's just roll heart because I'm appealing to my guy here. Um, well, you know what? I think it makes sense because I've got a connection, and it says that when you have a connection, um, when your connection aids you on a move closely associated with their role. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take the bonus on this resupply thing to appeal to him. No, I take it back. So I'm just asking him if he'll help me. Okay, so I got an 8, but against a 10 and a 5, which means it's a weak hit. And so on resupply, a weak hit is, um, you get the resupply, but there must be a cost, complication, or demand. So I think we'll go back to what I was kind of originally thinking before I got into the whole connection thing, which is that he says, oh, sure, no problem. Let me just do. Now you have to go to the Hearth supply docks and go pick up this the resupply that I just tagged for you. But the problem is that he essentially just stole it for me, and so there's potential of getting into trouble going and picking it up. So I think that's the cost. Okay, so let's say that what I need to do in order to um, go in there and get it is that this would be essentially a face danger that would need to be done with shadow. I think that's what makes sense to basically go in and essentially pick up the stolen package without anyone suspecting that I shouldn't have it. But what I'm also going to do, I think, because I believe that this is, it may be against the law, but it is in the service of a higher virtue. And so I think I'm going to roll secure an advantage based on, like, I'm going to pray to the ascendancy to give me, insight and help to assure my successful success on this task. So I'm going to roll secure an advantage, and I'm going to roll it plus heart because of my devotant ability. And if I get a hit, then I'll take +1 momentum or +1 spirit. And then, and if it was a strong hit with a match, a miracle would happen. But we'll see. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cough into the microphone there. All right. So I'm rolling plus heart for my secure and advantage roll. Okay, that's an 8 against a 7 and a 9, and so that's still a weak hit. So on a weak hit for secure and advantage, I can choose either take +2 momentum or add +1 on your next move. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add +1 on your next move. But because I have my devotant, um, it's a hit, I can take a +1 momentum. So basically, I'll take +1 momentum, which brings me from +7 to +8. And then I'm also going to get a +1 on my move to face danger with shadow. Perfect. So having prayed to the ascendancy, focused on the visions that I was granted that allow the possibility of transcending reality. I try to focus on being able to accomplish this task to go in and steal these resources to support my mission here. All right, so now I'm going to face danger with shadow with an extra +1. So I'm rolling shadow with +1. Okay, excellent. So that ended up being an 8 on the action score against a 2 and a 3, which means it's a strong hit. And on a strong hit, you are successful and take +1 momentum. Look at that. I got +9 momentum. That's great. That's fantastic. And because I'm successful, that means that I am successful on my resupply, which was my resupply move needed me to do all of that in order to be successful. But to make it successful, I am able to take +2 supply, which gets me back to +5. Fantastic. So now I will set a course and travel back out of Hearth and back to Ramshackle in order to try to make progress on this whole mission to pick up the medicine and to make sure Elisa is free. All right. So set a course is when you follow a path through known space, you roll plus supply. And I don't have anything, I think, that, just set a course. Yeah, nothing that's for that, so just going to roll supply. Make sure my, okay, rolling plus supply. Oh no, okay. So I set a course, and I got a 7 on my action score, but the challenge dice were 7 and an 8, which means it's a miss. So for set a course, on a miss, you are waylaid by a significant threat and must pay the price. If you overcome on this obstacle, you may push on safely to your destination. So this is a space, like a space encounter, where a spaceborne peril. There we go. That was the name of the oracle table that I was looking for. So let's roll on spaceborne peril. Well, actually, so first of all, we're paying the price. Just double check, because the spaceborne, like, pay the price. Where's this pay the price move? Sorry, I'm looking for it on the... Okay, one moment. So pay the price is in... Oh, okay, here we go. So pay the price. So when we have to pay the price, we can make the most obvious negative outcome happen, or ask the oracle, or roll on this table below. But because we have this oracle for spaceborne peril, let's just do that. So we're going to go ahead and roll percentile dice. There we go. 45 on spaceborne peril is a meteoroid storm fills the sky. Oh no. Okay. All right. So this is an unscheduled meteoroid storm. As I'm traveling through this course, I take off from the fiery magma sea adjacent port of Hearth, and I set my course for the rocky planet of Ramshackle. One of the things that we established about Hearth actually is that it is orbiting a binary star, but that is a relatively new phenomenon, geologically speaking. And so maybe that makes sense that there would still be like meteoroids around that are somewhat unpredictable. But I think what that means in this context is that in my ship, I have to face danger. I am facing danger with my ship trying to avoid the meteorites. So let's see. This would be like if I avoid speed with facing danger with speed, mobility, or agility, with resolve, command, or sociability, strength, endurance, or aggression, deception, stealth, or trickery, or expertise, focus, or observation. So I think the obvious choices would be either wits or edge in that case, right? Now my wits is better than my edge, but can I really justify? I feel like if we're leaning into the Star Warsy approach, the feel for this, then it's, this is piloting skill to avoid all of the asteroids, right? So that feels like it needs to be an edge roll. So I'm going to roll face danger with edge, even though it's not my best stat. All right, facing danger with edge. Okay, so I got a 5 against a 6 and a 3. But what I can actually do here is, gosh, you know what? I have enough momentum that I could burn it and turn that into a strong hit. But I think I'm going to actually accept a weak hit in this context because on a weak hit, so on a strong hit, you are successful and you would take +1 momentum. But on a weak hit, you succeed, but at a troublesome cost, and you make 1 suffer move. And so in this context, a suffer move, the most obvious one would be withstand damage to the ship, right? So I think on a more critical, I can save that momentum for a more critical move where I can take a miss and make it a strong hit instead of just a weak hit into a strong hit. And because I'm all repaired up and I have an in at a repair shop, I feel like I can handle that. So withstand damage. So my ship would take some damage to its integrity. So we would, subtract 1 for that, but then I can roll my withstand damage ship. And so if I, and then I would roll plus integrity, which is now at +4. And that would tell me, how well I withstand the damage from this meteoroid impact. Let's see. I'm going to because my hack of the rolling doesn't have a spaceship integrity thing to click. It's going to show up as a different roll here, but it's going to show up like it's a health roll, even though it's actually supposed to be this. I'm rolling the plus integrity. So, but I got a 9 against a 9 and a 3. So a weak hit for withstand damage. If your vehicle is not battered, and it's not, then I may just lose momentum -1 in exchange for +1 integrity. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely do that. So I can gain my 1 little damage back in exchange for 1 momentum point, taking me back down to 8 from 9. I think that's a fair price. So certainly better than if I had tried to burn all the way down to +2 just to avoid that 1. See, this is a perfect illustration of why, why you don't always want to burn the momentum just because you can. So in this instance, then, I think what that means is that I'm going through the meteoroids and I discover, oh gosh, well, I have to rechart my course, and it's a slower path through the meteoroid field than I would have preferred, but I managed to avoid taking any substantial damage. And because I have overcome that obstacle, I am able to press on and arrive at Ramshackle. So, as established, Ramshackle is on a rocky planet. So as we're zooming in to this planet, we see these towering plateaus. And there's a massive impact crater, which is where the settlement of Ramshackle is. And it's this sprawling network of tunnels and domes that are in the shadow of this enormous ship that was part of the exodus from the old galaxy. And so part of what this settlement, there's a project here trying to fix that up, but I think Wayfinder doesn't really know how well that's going, but is probably skeptical about the whole debacle. But we're able to arrive at Ramshackle and land in. So I think what I need to do first up here is I want to first find out. I want to get in touch with Elisa and figure out, like, does her paperwork and everything, does it look like everything's good to go? Is she all set? Is she, is everything fine with her? Is it working? So I think that makes sense to be a gather information role. So I'm going to try to find out and get in touch with her and do my best to determine whether or not she is actually good to go or if there's some other larger problem. So let's roll gather information, which is a plus wits. And this is a perfect illustration of something that I think the connection with mainframe does make sense, because I'm gathering information that is directly associated with the hack that he did, right? So with the connection, when I'm doing a roll, aiding me on a roll closely associated with his roll, add +1, take +1 momentum on a hit. I think this makes a perfect sense to do that here. So I'm doing wits +1. Okay, so that is just still a weak hit. And I do get to take +1 momentum because it was a hit. Yeah. Okay, so that's a weak hit. On a weak hit, the information provides new insight, but also complicates quest. Envision what you discover, take +1 momentum. Okay, so I get to another +1 momentum, so I'm at full. You know what, I could, and like this is one where, like, to avoid the complication, I could just, move it forward. But, let's go ahead and figure out what this complication might be. So the complication, what I was trying to determine is, did the hack work? Is it all good to go? Um, um, okay, so I think what happened here is I find out from her. I get back in touch with Elisa, and as previously established, I don't have a formal connection with her, but she is tattooed and alluring. Um, and I think when I reach her, she says, "Yeah, something happened in the computer, and it says that I'm free, but Zephyr asked to see me." And I am terrified that he's gonna be able to figure out that something's up, and that he's not gonna he's gonna think I did something wrong, and I don't think I can lie to him about it. So I want you to come with me to talk to him. Um, yeah, so I think that makes sense. So the complication here is that in the computer it says her debt is paid and it should be good, but we think he might be suspicious. So I think we've done enough for her that it maybe makes sense to form a connection with Elisa, make a connection. You know what? Let's see. I'm going to move. I've got these progress trackers, but I'm going to move it down 2 notches so I can have some more connection things open. All right. Okay, so this is, well, I guess I'll try to make the connection first. Do the roll to see if, if that works, because if not, I'm not going to put it on the connection yet. But I'm rolling heart to try to make a connection. Oh, well, look at that. So not only is it a strong hit, but it's also a match with an opportunity. Okay. So, okay, so this is for Elisa Hunter. And we're going to make this, like, I'll make that another troublesome. Troublesome rank. And she is tattooed and alluring. And then let's now that I'm getting to know her a little bit, I'm talking with her a little bit more. Let's do some of the like the revealed aspects and character goal. No, we had established her character goal was to escape a captor. Um, but we can roll another goal just to see, like, what would she want to do once she is escaped. Um, all right. So let's do some revealed character aspects. Let's do 2 of those. There we go. 92 and 91. All right. She is tolerant and tough. Okay. Nice. Um, uh, Also tolerant and tough. Okay. And then she, let's do another goal. What would you want to do if, if you're actually free? 21. She wants to defend a place. Um, Maybe she feels like she's under this guy's thumb, but she dislikes him enough that, like, I don't know, defending a place. Because my first thought was like, oh, we gotta, protect Ramshackle from this guy. That could be it. Yeah, maybe that could be it. Like, she's scared to confront him, but she feels strongly that, like, he's trying to seize power and should not be allowed to do so. So yeah, so she is. Yeah, I think that works. Um, Long-term goal. Stop Zephyr Khan from seizing power. Okay. All right. So now that I know a little bit more about her, and I have this connection, I think that um, uh, what we need to do in going to talk to Zephyr, right, is that's probably a face danger. Yeah, that's a face danger, but I think, and I've got some information about him already. But yeah, so I'm gonna once again pray to the ascendancy to help me to understand how to transcend the reality of this situation. Give me guidance for how to handle this guy Zephyr, in order to ensure that she is able to leave effectively. And you know what? Maybe what we can actually work out that makes sense is establish that, maybe what it says in the system is that. No, I think I would have avoided that. I was going to say, I wouldn't have wanted it to be like me personally that paid her debt. Just because that's, I think, too much in the way of connections. I don't think that's how mainframe would operate either. But I can just be like her friend who's there for moral support, and to help her with where she's going to go after this, so that he won't be able to say, well, gosh, your debt is paid, but don't you want to stick around? I mean, after all, you don't have anywhere else to go, right? I can say she does have a place to go. All right, so I'm going to try securing an advantage by praying, rolling with heart, to secure an advantage going into this, to talking with this guy. Okay, look, that's a strong hit with a 7 action score against 3 and 5. So that means that on a strong hit, I can both take +2 momentum and get a +1 on the roll to move forward. So turns out I'm actually at max momentum already. Maybe I didn't even really need to do that roll, but I still get the +1 to the roll, which is helpful. So let's say we go in and we're called in to meet with Zephyr Khan. And I think we heard a little bit about him, but as we're called in, this is this slight individual who, he has these strange extra arms. Um, and let's roll a couple of revealed aspects about him to, now that I'm meeting him in person and seeing a little bit more what he's like in this circumstance where he has called Elisa in to talk to him. So let's roll um, two of those. 97 is weak, and 79 is sociable. Interesting. So, like, we come in and we go into his office, and he like greets us with a smile, like a kind of maybe a wan smile, and like a handshake with one of his ex, like one of the lower arms, which is a little weird. But like he looks tired and kind of like exhausted, like he's maybe got a lot going on. That's interesting. Um, so let's add that to to our notes about this guy. Um, okay. And we can also we know a little bit more about Elisa now too. She is also tough and, what was it? Tough and, um, tough and tolerant. But then Zephyr is also um, weak and sociable. But so I think what we're talking about here in this context is another face danger, because there's a risk that he's going to figure out what really happened here, um, but that it may be, going to try to just, play it like, um, I think maybe what we need to decide though is like, what is the cover story, right? Like, how is it that, what I think what maybe makes the most sense is that like it's kind of the old inheritance thing, right? Like we say that she had an uncle who died and left her enough assets to cover her debt. And I think that makes the most sense. And that the uncle's from another sector, so good luck trying to find that to follow that up on that paper trail if the computer says it. So I think that makes sense. So we're facing danger. I think he comes in. He's sociable. Sociable at first makes it sound like he is, at least up front. He is just kind of saying, "So Elisa, it's we're really sorry to see you go here because obviously we think it's great for you that you've paid off your debt, but you're such a hard worker here. We'd really like to see you stick around. Maybe now that you've cleared that debt, we could talk about getting you into a bigger house or something," and that sort of stuff, right? Like trying to get her to just trick her back into the system. But I am going to help her have the moral support to to well, actually, let's talk about this. Does it make more sense to do face danger with shadow, or is this more like a compel? Like I'm trying to just charm him into just letting it all go. I think there's some deception involved because she knows that it's not really true. And part of what's happening is I'm helping her lie, right? So that's not just me making a good faith persuasion or even a lie. Well, lie or swindle is a compel with shadow. Yeah, so maybe that is actually what the role ought to be, is not so shadow I think is definitely the stat we need to use, but the question is this a face danger move or is it a compel move? And I think it is a compel move because it offers here when you try to persuade someone or make them an offer and you're doing it with lie or swindle, that's a compel with shadow. And I think that is what we're doing here, is we're trying to compel him to basically accept that the records are correct and to just let her go and not try to push her into something else. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll compel with shadow. And this is another one where I think we can rely on Mainframe's our connection with mainframe, because this is, we're basically, we can, any question we can just point to is like, well, it's right there on the computer. It says so. So I think that is another case where we can get a +1 from his hacking skills on that. So let's roll that shadow +1 and see. Okay, so that's we rolled a 1 on the action die, which would make this a weak hit for against a 4 and a 3. So for compel on a weak hit, they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions, but their agreement comes with a demand or complication. And this is another one where, like, I could burn the momentum, but I feel like what I would rather do is save the momentum for just in case my attempt to complete the well, no, okay, never mind. You know what? I feel like what this is going to let me do is, if I just resolve this, I burn the momentum, which would make my action score a 10, and that just gets us past this, like, because I feel like this is a really critical roll, like, no pun intended, like, if this guy were to get wind of what's happening, that's potentially really dangerous, right? So I think I am going to go ahead and just burn that momentum, which puts me back down to my reset of +2, but it makes this a strong hit, which means they'll do what you want or agree to your conditions, +1 and then take +1 momentum. So I get a little bit of it back, but that way there's no complication. He, basically has nothing to stand on in terms of, like, yep, her debt is obviously paid. It's so clear. Gosh, I can't talk you into staying. Okay, I guess not. All right, well, good luck to you. With a little bit, maybe, of a tiny edge of bitterness in his voice, but we don't give him any ground at all to complain or object. So that's it. So I think what that counts as is we get to make more progress on that, that objective, is that the hack is done and we have talked past the human element of that. So we get to make another 3 boxes of progress. Copy. And then, yeah. I always forget where you have to have the mouse when you do paste to try to get it centered where you want it. And so that puts us at 9 boxes on that. So I think as we walk out of Zephyr's office and I look over at Elisa, and this tough tattooed lady is her hands are shaking, and she's just looking over at me like, I can't believe we did it. I think I'm going to try to fulfill the vow and say, like, yeah, that's it. It's done. We did it. And so what that means is, if I'm going to fulfill my vow, that's a progress move. And our progress is at 9 on this tracker. So what that means is we're going to roll with 9 as the progress. So so let's see. All right, so I'm going to try fulfill a vow. The vow progress was at 9, and the challenge dice came up as 4 or 8, so that's a strong hit. So on a strong hit for fulfill a vow, your vow was fulfilled. Mark a reward on your quest's legacy track per the vow's rank, troublesome. So this is a troublesome one, so it's 1 tick. And then and that's it. So I've cleared that vow, and that makes this my quests thing. Change that to 2 ticks. All right, and then so I can clear this one. But I think that would certainly represent developing the relationship with Elisa, who, I keep looking at that description of alluring, and it's like, oh, I mean, maybe that's interesting. Well, but let's try developing the relationship to see how that goes. So Well, you know what? We just mark progress for that. So that's um so let's, just take 3 boxes worth. Uh, and put that over here. And then, all right. And then, so then maybe if I continue to, work with her on her long-term goal um, of stopping Zephyr Khan from seizing power, maybe we'll develop that relationship further. And then let's also figure out what her new role is going to be. It's kind of like, let's look at that role table and say, so Elisa, now that you can do whatever you want, we know you want to long term take and get the Zephyr out of power, but like, what are you gonna like do for money in the meantime, like, or for that matter, what do you want to do? Because I think, because I suddenly had that, like if this were a show, I mean, I just did a thing for her. She's now sort of rootless. No, she has this long-term project of wanting to take out Zephyr, so I think she's not going to just come with me, is the point. So I think let's find out, let's do a roll on the character roll table to see if she has an idea for what she's going to start doing with her new freedom. 73, a researcher. Okay, that's interesting. So maybe she's like, I didn't come to this sector to be a glorified security guard at an airlock. I want to get back into my research now that I have the freedom to do what I want. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I wish her luck. I say that I'll check back in on her soon, but in the meantime, I still have to pick up that package of Wuggler medicine for Mainframe and get that back to Hearth. So I think in this context, this is another. I think we did compel when we were talking specifically to this guy, right? But I think in general, if the idea is the whole process of having to go to where it's stored and go through the whole process of saying, yes, that's me, here it is. I'm here to get it, do all the paperwork, get it loaded onto my ship. Like, I feel like that seems more like a face danger role. So, but once again, we are doing it with deception, stealth, or trickery. I think I will once again, though, especially since I used my momentum before. I'm gonna try praying again to thanks for the insight that helped me to free Elisa from that dangerous situation she was in. Please help me to complete the loop on this. All right, so that's a low roll. So that was a 1 on the die, plus 3 gives me just a 2 and a 5 for a weak hit. So the secure an advantage on a weak hit, I just choose either +1 momentum or +2 momentum or a +1 on the next move. You know what? I will go ahead and take +2 momentum. All right, so that means that I'm going into face danger with Shadow to see if I can get in and out of this place with the medicine without them, starting to get suspicious that something's wrong. So I'm rolling. Well, and this is another one where it makes sense that I would have the +1 from the hacker, because it's like the whole thing is because it's Mainframe supposedly set it all up, right? So I feel like I want to make sure that, like, I'm not abusing that, like, because the connection doesn't just say the first time when you do an aids you on it. I think it makes sense, right? Like, he's the one that said in the computer that, like, yeah, okay, so I definitely believe that's fair. So I'm rolling Shadow +1 because I'm relying on Mainframe's hacking ability. Okay, good. So that's an 8 total against a 3 and a 7, which is great because without that +1, that would have been a weak hit. But so that means I face danger. I am successful and I take +1 momentum. Nice. And it means that I get the box loaded back onto my ship with no issues. I've got this box that I'm going to take to this hacker who's going to deliver it to people who need it. And I am certain, minus a small percentage, like he's not giving it out for free, but, he's making it available to people who need it, presumably not scalping it. But, I mean, I don't know. That's tricky. I didn't really talk to him about the details of that, but yeah. Seems mostly, mostly noble. So let's find out, though. So that means I need to set a course back to Hearth. Yeah, let's set a course back to Hearth. And where is that move? There we go. So I'm setting a course back to Hearth, and my supply is still at +5. And so let's roll that supply. All right, that's a 9, which was a 4 on the die +5 against a 6 and a 5, which means that's a strong hit. I reach my destination and the situation there favors me. Take +1 momentum. Excellent. So I think I get back to Hearth. Everything is just smooth sailing. I deliver the medicine where Mainframe told me to do that. And so I think I'm going to check back in with Mainframe just to make sure we're cool. And on that basis, I think that makes sense to be another, like I'm developing that relationship, in the same way. So let's go ahead and mark progress on that. Okay. Oops. All right. So I think, having fulfilled those vows and helped some people and made some connections here in town, I feel pretty good, but I'm also feeling a little bit like I don't want to neglect my primary mission, which is to learn more about the Ascendancy. So I think now that I've resolved some of the things that I needed to do here, like when I arrived and helping people and all of that, let's try to gather some information about where I might find an Ascendancy vault, because that's what I really want to find. So let's go ahead and gather information. You know what? And I think it makes perfect sense in this context that I would also pray on this again first. So I'm going to secure an advantage by praying on it, because I'm specifically seeking out, relics of the Ascendancy. Okay, great. So not only did I got a strong hit, but there's also an opportunity. And so the secure an advantage strong hit lets me take +2 momentum. Nice. And a +1 to my next hit, but also an opportunity. So the opportunity here was when I'm praying. And you know what? Let's maybe make that just a matter of that makes me not have to, do we want to just say that gives me an automatic success on the gather information? Oh, okay. How about this? What we find out is I am given like a direct, indication that I should seek out something specific. And so we'll just flavor that as whatever information I get from the gather information roll that I'm going to do. We'll just essentially say whatever information I do get is just that much more specific and helpful. Let's just flavor it like that. That's simple, I think. So now we're gathering information, and we're going to do wits, and that's +1 from the prayer I just did. And, well, you know what? How about this? Instead of making it more vague like that, let's just give me an extra +1 on that. So we'll do my wits +2. Okay, so that makes it a 6, but that's still against a 3 and a 10. So that's a weak hit. Weak hit for gather information. The information provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover, then take +1 momentum. Okay, well, I just immediately thought of what I feel like the obvious complication needs to be, is that what I prey on and try to research and like gather information about where people may have seen or heard from evidence of relics, and then the complication that I learn is that there's been a relic spotted, but it's in deep space close to Dead Rock where the pirates are. Yeah, I think that that makes sense. That as a complication is that it's risky. It's a risky area where those pirates are, and that's a definite possibility that I might encounter them on the way or even there. Like maybe they're also exploring this relic, that this vault. Yeah, yeah, I think that's what happens. Okay, but I'm going to say though that finding like discovering that there is a rumored vault, I think would count as progress on my background vow, which is an epic quest. So progress on that is only, it basically is only one tick on that. But the idea of I came to this sector because I heard that there is an ascendancy vault here. Gives me one tick towards that. So, a long way to go there still. But okay, so I think before I set out there, I'm going to take a moment while I'm in town and try to heal up a little bit, just get myself a little more healthy and physically prepared to make this journey. So I'm going to do, let's see, a heal roll. When you receive medical care or provide treatment, envision the situation and roll. So I think when I'm here in town, I think I'm just going to, like, I don't have any, like, none of my connections are specific to, hang on, let me edit these so that, like, I have the right, because mainframe is on Hearth. And then Elisa is on Ramshackle. None of those connections are specifically for helping me get healing. So I'm not going to do any of that. But when I want to receive treatment from someone, that would be roll iron. That doesn't seem right. When retrieve treatment from someone not an ally, roll iron. Mend your own wounds would be roll iron or wits, whichever is lower. Obtain treatment for a companion, roll plus heart, or provide care to someone else, I guess. Like iron? Is that okay? Well, you know what? I mean, I'll that doesn't seem what I would have expected, but I will follow what it says. So I'm gonna roll iron, not my best stat. Let's roll it and see what happens. Okay, so we ended up with a 4 on the die plus 1 for 5 against a 3 and a 7, so that's a weak hit. So on a strong hit, it would be the care is helpful. You can, if you're wounded, you can clear that and get plus 2 health, or you can get plus 3 health. But on a weak hit, as above, but the recovery costs extra time or resources. Choose either to lose 2 momentum or sacrifice resources -2. Well, I have lots of momentum right now, so I think that would be the thing. So lose momentum is one of the is a move, not just losing 2 momentum. So let's see what that does. Lose momentum. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So lose momentum. Just like there's complicated things if I was at 0 momentum or at minimum, but that's not the case. So just lose 2 momentum, but that lets me heal my health back up to 5. So that's great. I'm good to go. I'm feeling healthy, physically fit, spiritually fit, restocked, and ready to make an expedition So let's mark where I heard this place was. Um, let's um, let's um, let's make um, let's make it a green circle, and say it's like right here, um, and um, say rumored vault. All right, so that means it's through uncharted space and it's potentially in dangerous area. So that means heading there is definitely an expedition. And I think it's far enough, and because we've established that there's extra danger there, I think it makes sense that that is a dangerous expedition as opposed to just troublesome. Um, uh, Yeah, I guess it does make sense. Iron being how well you grit through and recover, but I guess I was just sort of imagining it being different. Like, it's one thing, iron makes perfect sense if what you're doing is treating yourself in the field. But I was kind of imagining, just like how repair has different versions depending on whether you're like, at a facility or just doing it in the field. I feel like it would make sense that if what you're doing is saying, I'm going to a doctor, maybe it makes sense to like roll supply instead of iron or something, right? But it's fine. It worked out okay. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create expedition to rumored vault. All right, and I'm going to make that dangerous to find it. And so what dangerous means compared to troublesome is that when we make progress, we only mark 2 boxes rather than 3. So that means that, if I wanted to get all the way up to 10, I would have to make progress 5 times, as opposed to, for troublesome, if I made progress 3 times, I'd already be at 9. So, all right. So I am, once again, I think, I have a fair amount of momentum already, but it could be more. I am setting out on a dangerous journey to find a vault. I'm once again going to pray for success. This is one of those things where, like, in some ways, it feels a little bit like I am, you can make a case that I'm abusing it, but I would make the case that I have, ended up creating a religious character. It makes perfect sense that they would pray all the time and like get mechanical benefits for it. Why would I not? All right. So I'm praying for success on this expedition. All right. So a 6 against a 1 and a 9. So for secure an advantage on a weak hit, I can either take +1 on the next roll or +2 momentum. I've got a pretty high momentum already, so what I'm going to take is a +1 to my undertake an expedition move. All right, and so am I moving at speed, keeping under the radar, or staying vigilant? I think because I'm worried about pirates, I'm going to be keeping under the radar, even though staying vigilant would also be the same number for me. But I think I want to avoid the pirates, or for that matter, anyone else who might want to follow me or something. So I'm going to try to be sneaky. I'm going to fly casual, and I'm going to roll shadow +1 from my prayer. Avoid piratical entanglements, indeed. Okay, so I ended up with a 5 against a 7 and a 3, so that's a weak hit. If a weak hit on undertaken expedition would let me make progress, but the progress costs me, and I would either make a suffer move -2 or face a peril at the waypoint. But I could burn the momentum Now, see, again, like I want to save those momentums for either super critical rolls or when it's changing a miss to a strong hit instead of just, fixing a miss instead of a weak hit. So let's say that on a weak hit for undertake an expedition, I make progress. So I'm going to envision the location and then mark progress. So you know what? I need need a little one to go down here. Make that one small. Okay. So mark progress, which is 2 boxes filled for a dangerous. And then we're going to establish that, figure out what this waypoint is. But also, I have to either suffer or face a peril at the waypoint. I think let's face a peril. Excuse me. So we have a spaceborne peril table that we can roll on. So let's roll on that first. Well, let's see. So we've got spaceborne opportunity, spaceborne peril, stellar object, exploring space. So introducing. Yeah, let's just roll spaceborne peril and see what happens, and then decide what else we see at this place when we have got the peril established. There we go. Okay, 63 on spaceborne peril. Phantom signals suggest a lurking foe. So that sounds to me like perhaps we have in this context. Let's see. Let's see. You know what? I was just realizing. So like, I think I could. So I made a waypoint, and I think. Maybe this is just like sort of a dusty nebula with some stellar debris hanging around, but there's some phantom signals that make me think, uh-oh, maybe there's pirates lurking. I definitely want to avoid their notice. So that sounds to me like, first of all, a waypoint that I wouldn't want to explore further because I don't want to get discovered, but that to sneak by them, I definitely want to face danger with deception, stealth, or trickery. So that sounds like a face danger with shadow to try to avoid piratical entanglements, so to speak. All right, so I'm rolling. I'm rolling plus shadow. Okay, so that's an 8 against a 7 and a 9, which is just a weak hit. On a weak hit for face danger, I succeed, but at a troublesome cost. Make a suffer move. So I think what that means is that I do sneak by the signals without being discovered, but it costs me either momentum, health, spirit, supply, or so the suffer moves are lose momentum, endure harm, endure stress, withstand damage, companion takes a hit, sacrifice resources. You know what? I'm just going to say it stressed me out. Like I was already worried about pirates, and then the first place I stop on my journey, I'm already discovering pirate signals. I think that's going to stress me out. So I take -1 spirit, but then I'm going to do the endure stress move. Hang on, let me double check what I was supposed to do there. Face danger on a weak hit. Was it? Yeah, just a -1 suffer move. So endure stress. I took the -1 spirit, but then I'm going to roll. I roll plus spirit or plus heart, whichever is higher. Right now my spirit is +4, so that's higher. And then on a week, and we'll see what happens. So my spirit is at +4. Let's roll that. Okay, that's a 6 against a 10 and a 5 for a weak hit. So on a weak hit for endure stress, if I'm not shaken, which I'm not, I either I can lose 1 momentum in exchange for getting that spirit back, or press on. And I think what I'll do to reflect on that is that I'll get my spirit back and lose 1 momentum, and just reflect on, like, I am so stressed out, as a result of that I have to take a moment before moving on to the next leg to just kind of center myself and say, okay, it worked out. It's fine. It's fine. We don't need to panic. Take a deep breath. All right. Okay, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to now continue the expedition. Because we don't want to, we don't want to explore that waypoint because we know there's lurking pirates already. So we're undertaking an expedition. Once again, we're going to, I think, stick with Shadow for now. And we don't have, this specific advantage, but let's just roll it. Uh-oh. Okay, so we ended up with a 1 on the die, +2 for Shadow, against a 3 and a 9. And so this is a miss. I could burn momentum to make my action roll a 7, which would turn it into a weak hit. But let's see what the difference would be between those. So for a miss, I'm waylaid by a crisis, or arrive at a waypoint to confront an immediate hardship or threat, and do not make progress and pay the price. Alternatively, if it's a weak hit, I get to make progress. I arrive at a waypoint, but it costs me, I have to either face a peril or do suffer moves. Like a suffer move, like there being a peril that I might be able to just overcome without a difficulty, I think is better than having to pay the price and still have the danger there and didn't make progress. So I think in this context, I am going to burn the momentum, put it back down to 2, which makes my action score a 7 instead, which turns this into a weak hit. So I think in this context, it means I still get to mark progress. And put those in the boxes. And then I'm going to roll that Spaceborne Peril again. Okay, so Spaceborne Peril. Let's roll. Let's find out. What Spaceborne Peril am I dealing with? A 10. A 10 is a contagion or illness threatens to take hold. Does that make any sense in this context? Like, the only thing that comes to mind is, what if I discover that there's a wuggler on board and it got on me? And it would not normally be, like, if I had the medicine, I could treat it. And I know people who have it back on Hearth, but I just set out for this long-term expedition. And so we know that what we've established about the wugglers previously is that it's a little bit gross to have this thing on you. This weird little multi-jointed, furry lobster tendril thing with a proboscis. But that the primary thing that it does is, over a long period of time, if you don't remove it with the right medicine, it makes you kind of ultimately dependent on it. And it just kind of saps your strength a little bit. So that is one way. But this is just a peril that, like, I have to deal with. It's not necessarily something that's definitely happened. So maybe what it is it's just that I discover a wuggler on the ship. And so then I have to try to deal with it, and we'll see how that goes. I think that makes sense. So for the contagion on board. Yeah, okay, so I think what happens is I'm just kind of starting to take a look at what might be around when I hear a strange skittering on the ship, and I'm like, oh God, what is that? What is that? And I start looking around, and I have to, I discover that there's a wuggler, and it's trying to, like, is trying to like skitter around. And I'm worried basically what these things really do is that like next time I go to sleep, it might just climb up on me. So I need to try to get it and make sure there's no others before I go to sleep again. So let's say this is probably face danger to try to track down and let's say face danger to get the first one, and then we'll gather information to see if that's it or if there's any more. All right, and so face danger with speed, mobility, or agility would be one possible way to do it. Deception, stealth, or trickery would be one way to do it with expertise, focus, or observation. I think what I want to try to do here is to trick it. I want to bait it into like a trap that I want to make. And so I'll call that shadow. So I'm facing danger with shadow here to try to catch this little freaking wuggler that's snuck onto my ship somehow. Okay. Rolling with shadow. All right, that's a low roll for a 3 against a 2 and a 6. That's a weak hit. And I certainly don't have momentum to fix that. So a weak hit for face danger. I succeed in catching it, but at a troublesome cost. Make a suffer move. I'm going to say that the suffer move here is that, like, I sprain my ankle. I twist my ankle at, while trying to, like, grab it. Like, it almost gets away again, but I managed to get it down, but I kind of, like, I hurt my ankle trying to capture it. So I capture it, but I have to do endure harm. Where's my suffer move? I keep scrolling past it. There we go. Endure harm. So I take -1 health, but now I'm going to endure harm. So I'm rolling either plus health or plus iron, whichever is higher. And so in this case, +4 as health is still higher. So let's roll that. Okay, so that's a 6 against a 5 and a 7 for a weak hit. So what I can either do is sacrifice some momentum to get that health back, or just, embrace the pain and take +1 momentum, which I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to let it stay hurt for a little bit, but take the momentum. Okay, so now I have captured and spaced the one that I found, that I saw. Now I need to try to gather information to try to find out if there's any others on the ship that I didn't see. Because it's one of those things like, you have an infestation, you're like, oh God, well, for every one that you see, how many more that you don't? Let's gather information. And that's a wits, roll plus wits. Okay, that's a 7, which was a 5 on the die +2 against a 2 and a 5. So that's a strong hit. So I gather information. With strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress. I think in this context, what I just discovered is that I confirm to my satisfaction that that was the only one on the ship, and there are no others. And further, I figure out how it got on the ship so I can fix that. I discover a way to program the computer to to shield off that one particular hatch when we're on the station, and to alarm if one gets on the ship again. And I take +2 momentum. Whew. Okay, so now that we have resolved that particular danger at this waypoint, let's figure out what else is here. Let's do a roll for a stellar object and see if that gives us like a visual to work with. So let's roll for a stellar object. Okay, 54 is a young star incubating in a molecular cloud. That's kind of cool. Okay, so that's what we see here in space. And I wonder, like, I could mark these on the map, but no, I don't think so. Not non-notable things like this. So let's explore this waypoint while we're here. I am an explorer, right? So when I explore a waypoint, I take +1 momentum on a hit because I'm an explorer. So let's do that. Let's explore this waypoint and around this young star in the molecular cloud and see what do I find here. Explore a waypoint. When you divert from an expedition to examine a notable location, make +wits. Roll +wits. So let's do it. Okay, that's an 8 against a 2 and an 8, which is a weak hit. So explore a waypoint, weak hit. On a weak hit, you uncover something interesting, but it is bound up in a peril or reveals an ominous aspect of this place. Envision what you encounter and then take +1. So one way to do to approach that, we have a table for spaceborne opportunities and spaceborne perils. So maybe we roll once on either of both of those and see if that gives us a clue for how that works. So I get my +1 momentum, but let's figure out what our combo opportunity and peril are. So spaceborne peril and spaceborne opportunity. So let's roll. So the first roll will be for opportunity and then peril. So 65 and 3. So the opportunity is a mineral or energy resource detected. Okay, maybe this molecular cloud surrounding the this young star has pockets of like valuable resource gases in it that like could be harvested. But then the peril of 3 is artificial gravity generator malfunctions. That's an established thing on my ship. That's like one of the quirks of it. So one of the quirks on my ship is that it occasionally has gravity issues. So I think maybe what happens there is that I see that there's these resources that could be valuable if I were to collect some of them, but my gravity generator malfunctions, making it difficult to, navigate my ship until I can fix it. So maybe what I need to do here is to try to fix that. I'm going to do the repair move to try to fix it while I'm in space. Let's see. Repair. Okay, so when you make repairs to your vehicles, and I'm doing that in the field, but not under fire, so I'm going to roll +wits to try to fix my gravity generator. Okay, that's a weak hit, but a weak hit still gives me 1 point of repair, and so so that basically, I'd say like that lets me fix it. So I got the gravity generator fixed, and then I say that I have I will check my gear. Check my gear to see if I have on the ship the capacity to collect some of these valuable gases, or whether I am, just need to mark down the location of them for maybe later. So I'm going to do check my gear to see if I maybe have what I would need to harvest some of them while I'm here. Check your gear. When you check to see if you have a specific helpful item or resource, I'm going to roll plus supply, which I have at +5 right now. So it's a good chance I might. Oh no, but there was a 10 in the challenge die, so it's still a weak hit. On a weak hit, I have it, but I have to either sacrifice resources -1, or it's not quite right and causes a complication or delay, which would cost me 2 momentum. You know what? I'll accept a loss of resource. So sacrifice resources as a move. Sacrifice resources. I just lose 1 supply. But I have the thing that I need, and so I'm going to say that I have collected samples of valuable molecular gases. So we'll just say I have those. that I could maybe use to like I could sell that location to somebody for a future use. Okay, great. So now let's continue on my expedition and try to get a little farther, closer to this vault. See if I can find it. Undertake expedition. Once again, I am definitely going to try to keep under the radar still. So I am rolling shadow. Okay, that's another low roll for a 3 against a 6 and a 2. That's another weak hit. So I have no. So I have 6 momentum. I could turn that into a strong. I can't turn it into a strong hit. Is what I mean to say. So on a weak hit, once again for undertaking expedition, as above, it costs me. I make progress, but there. So I'm once again. I'm going to choose. I want to preserve my resources where I can. So I'm going to imagine that there's a peril there. So let's roll a spaceborne peril again. But let's mark progress. Don't want to forget to do that. Okay. Okay. All right. So got the progress up to 6, which is pretty good. But let's roll for the peril. Roll to avoid the peril. No. 63. That's another phantom signals and suggest a lurking foe. Since we got that one already, let's roll again just for fun. Ooh, 100. Roll twice. Oh no. See, that's what I get for wanting to get a different result. So I'm going to roll twice more and get both of those. It's far too perilous, indeed. 38 and 14. So 14 is dust clouds imperil navigation or conceal foes. And then 38 is isolation or fear presses in. Oh, those are good. Those actually go well together, right? Because like if I'm paranoid already about these pirates just being who they could be anywhere, and then all of a sudden now there's these dust clouds. It's making me worry I'm going to get lost. And for that matter, there could be pirates hiding, and I'm just actually finding myself like struggling to hold it together. But I think what that I'm going to do is first, I'm because there's 2 of them, I'm essentially going to do 2 rolls to overcome both pieces, right? So I think for one, face danger to avoid getting stressed out and paranoid. I'm going to face danger with heart, with resolve, commander, sociability. I think that makes sense. To just try to like say no, hold it together, Wayfinder. All right. Okay, great. So that is a 6 against a 4 and a 4. So that's not only a strong hit, but it is gives me an opportunity. And on a strong hit, I take +1 momentum. Okay. So there's still these dust clouds, but now there's an opportunity. So maybe in the dust clouds, let's roll for an opportunity. 41. A friendly settlement in range. Oh. Interesting. I find a settlement in the dust clouds? Wow. Okay, so I think I'm going to face danger with wits to try to navigate to this place. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to face danger with wits to try to find this friendly settlement. Which is very cool, honestly. That's a very cool discovery. So, okay, so that's a 5 against a 2 and a 10. So that's a weak hit on that face danger. I succeed, but I have to do a -1 suffer move. I think that I am just, you know what? A -1 suffer move. Just I could sacrifice 1. I could lose momentum on that to take from 7 to 6. I think that's a good one. Okay, so I think I'm just so taken aback that there's a moment where I'm just like, Wow, is this like, what is this? Okay, so let's figure out what's going on with this this settlement. So I feel like we're in deep space. So with dust clouds, we've established that, right? So I think we're not, we're this is a deep space settlement. We've got settlement, oracles. Um, so let's, um, so we've already decided it's a deep space settlement. So let's figure out what what to roll on that. Hang on. Where's my? Is deep space just one of these? Like, hang on. I'm trying to remember where the oh, space sighting. Yeah, I should be doing that for I could roll that for when a waypoint doesn't automatically give something else for it to be. Um, so let's see, where's the settlements? Okay, so we know that it's a deep space settlement. We've already established that. We're gonna let's say we're making this deep space settlement. Um, let's put it right. We're about 60% of the way, so we say it's right there. So we're going to roll for population. We're in the Outlands. So let's roll 93. Wow! Tens of thousands? There is a settlement of tens of thousands of people hiding in the dust clouds that we didn't know about? That's crazy. That's bizarre. Like, why would that be? Why would we not know? Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm interested though in this. Like what is this? This is bizarre. Okay. So let's start getting some text in here. Okay, population, tens of thousands. Is deep space, hidden in dust clouds, tens of thousands. So first look, let's roll twice on that to see kind of what we get. Makes no goddamn sense. Compels me though. Yes, exactly. I'm so excited for Knives Out too. Oh my gosh. All right, so for our first look here, 93 we just did. So 51 and 33. So 51, intimidating defenses. Yeah, I believe that probably checks out. And then elevated or multi-level construction, which makes sense if it's a huge, like, space station, right? Whoops. Okay. Intimidating defenses and multi-level construction. Okay. So let's make an initial contact with them and kind of like, hello? 16. Welcoming. They're welcoming. Okay, great. It's a little surprising. It's almost sinister. This huge settlement that nobody knew about that's hiding in the dust clouds and has intimidating defenses, but they're welcoming. Gosh, why is that? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm scared. Okay, so I think authority we could roll on, but I don't know if we know that yet. But let's roll a settlement name for this place. 48. So this is Lyra. Okay. Lyra. Okay. Okay. Lyra. Um, okay, so they're welcoming. I am like suspicious, perhaps, but at the same time, I mean, you know what? I am going to like they're welcoming. I'm going to pray and consult the oracle to have the ascendancy try to give me some advice on whether they think I should accept the welcome and go and explore further, or whether I should move on for now. Um, Gosh, I'm so curious. Like, we know about it, but I'm also on a bigger mission, and this is like there's some hinky elements to this. Um, uh, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray to the oracles, or the ascendancy, and tell me, like, have them tell me, should I explore this place further, or should I keep on going towards the vault? So I'm going to say that for 1 to 50 would be to stay and explore further, and 51 to 100 will be to continue towards the vault. Okay. I believe that after consulting the ascendancy, they think I should explore this place further. So, all right. So I move in closer to this place. I don't think, yeah, I don't think that I make, yeah, there's no other things to look at. But let's say, yeah, I move in closer and start trying to get a sense of like this enormous space station. You know what? Maybe what could make sense is, what if it is one of the Exodus ships that just never settled anywhere, and it's just like that's why there's so many people, and they just chose to like stay on this generation ship and just hide out there instead of you know maybe well, let's meet someone here, um, and see and start like chatting with them to see if I can figure out what the whole deal of this place is. Um, so they kind of say, come on in, you can dock over here. So let's figure out a person. They say we'll have someone meet you at the dock to Um, so let's roll twice on first look to see what this person is like. 24 and 39. They're augmented and graceful. Interesting. Okay. It's an augmented, graceful person that meets me, and their disposition is friendly. Okay. Yeah. All right. Um, okay. So I meet this augmented, graceful, friendly person, whose name is, let's roll twice. 25. Their name is Creed. 33. Creed Legrand. All right, let's add a person here. Let's see. Creed. Oops. Creed Legrand. Lyra. And they are augmented, graceful, friendly. And let's find out, as I start getting to talk to them, they are going to tell me, I'm going to find out like what their job is. "15, criminal." I don't know. Actually, I take that back. If it doesn't it also doesn't necessarily make sense to roll on the roll table because clearly their role here is like greeter, or like security, or like that sort of like you know that sort of person. So I'm going to veto that criminal role. Um, like they might be a criminal. I'm just going to say like that's not their role on the station. Um, because we can tell from the story that they're someone that they would send to greet an unusual ship, right? So I start asking like, well, what is this place? Like, what do you do here? What is your, what is the nature of this place? Um, let's see. So let's roll for 2 settlement projects. Um, 85 and 90. 85 is surveillance and trade. Does trade make sense if it's a secret place? Well, it would mean not trade locally, right? And surveillance, maybe what are they? I don't know. I don't know about that. This is a weird place. Like, why would there be so many in a secret place? Surveillance and trade. Okay. Uh, all right. Here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm just about ready to be done for tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also roll a settlement trouble. And then I'm going to roll 1 oracle to say, is this place actually nice? Or is there something secretly sinister? And we'll let that be the end roll, and then I can think more on how to incorporate all of these bizarre things for next time. So the projects are surveillance and trade. Problem is settlement trouble is 87. Oh, they want action and theme for that. So let's roll over to there. 58 and 52. So 58 is investigate. 52, law. Investigate law. Their problem is investigate law. Maybe they're trying to study the laws of the universe, and so we established that there is a fracturing of reality we're concerned about called the sundering, and maybe that their part of their project of this place is to try to study that, and maybe the trade has something to do with that. Like maybe they have discovered some fracture in reality, and they're here to like study it and trade with it. I don't know. Well, but now I'm going to do. I'm going to just right now. I'm going to roll. 1 to 50 is this place is benevolent or benign, and 51 to 100 sinister, hiding something. 52 sinister and hiding something. Okay. Oracle says they are sinister and hiding something. Boom, boom, boom. Cliffhanger. Okay, so I think that is a good place to finish for tonight. And yeah, I think it is the better choice. I mean, I was kind of secretly hoping that would be what it was, just because it's more interesting to finish on, even though like Wayfinder is probably not thrilled to say, oh, look, a secret gigantic settlement that's bigger than any of the other ones that I know. All right. But we'll figure out more about what that's all about. Maybe roll some oracles for it next time But in the meantime, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed. You can check out all of the other stuff I do on my YouTube channel at Christiana Ellis. And, at Christiana Ellis on Twitter, ChristianaEllis.com, so on. I also run Dungeons and Dragons on Tuesday nights and Saturday nights. So check that out, and I will talk to you all later.